What's up, everybody? Johnny Styles here one more time for the third week in a row with the guys from the UK. Luke and James are going to be hopping on here to chat real quick with any of you guys. If you're watching this on Facebook, if you're watching this on YouTube, make sure you subscribe, you follow, you share. You can ask all your questions to the Foo Boys straight from the UK. Here we have James the Shed Instead. How's it going? How's it going?
Very good. I'm in my new little setup, my little studio.
Wow, you see, every week you keep improving.
I've been building bits. I've been putting up new cabinets and, new cabinets, new laptop, new screen, new speakers, little keyboard. I'm getting busy. I'm trying to get busy because bodybuilding is kind of on pause.
Yeah, I know, and it's crazy. Back in the day when we were doing live streams and everything, people didn't know how much they're gonna be using this new technology, and now everybody's using it, right?
Oh, definitely. Listen, the thing is, it's a number one, it's a way to communicate, but number two, it's like there's so many things you can do to self-teach at home. Like, I'm not a musician by any means, but having software to do so has allowed me to have another passion besides bodybuilding. So it's pretty cool. I'm loving it. I'm having real fun, honestly. Seriously, I've been like most days, like in between going to the gym and training, you'll find me literally sitting at this desk just trying to do a Dr. Dre and try and make something.
No, but it'll come to you. And honestly, I think it's one of those things that as you get better with it, maybe you'll find a new passion, besides bodybuilding.
Well, do you know the funny thing is, Johnny? Yeah, I used to do this like 10 years ago. And
I had no idea.
Yeah, the only reason I stopped is because my PC at the time broke, and that was it. Literally, I was too poor to buy a new one, so I didn't pursue it. But I used to do it a lot. Like literally, used to produce. I even produced a song, and it made it onto a CD in HMV.
Wow, really?
One song. That's one claim to fame. It made it onto a rap album for someone from. It was a member of a group over here that had Roll Deep. They were called, and they had like a support band or group that went out with them and toured and done some of their, like shows with them. And one of the members of this support group was, I can't even remember his name, but we did a song with him and I produced it and it made it onto his CD and it was in HMV. So that was
wow. Cool. You don't play any instruments at all?
No, I can't play anything. Like I've got I've got this here, yeah? Like a MIDI keyboard, and I can't play it for crap. Like you tell me to play it, it's terrible, but I have a good ear for notes, so I will find out the notes I want, and if I can draw them onto like a software, then I can have a good time, and I can actually make something quite nice. I know what fits and what doesn't. That's the main gist of it. But
pretty cool. Right now, we got a question from Steven Koch. Says, have you guys considered using Pct or Rogaine? Because now you have no hair, just like me.
Oh, tell me. Listen, I've tried all the shampoos and all that crap. You just got to accept it when it comes. Like you can even see, you can see the darkness here. There is nothing there. That is smooth, and it's too blonde. Even if it did grow, you wouldn't see it. So I have never tried any of that. Like in bodybuilding, there's always something to take, isn't there? There's always someone suggesting take this, take that to counter something. Yeah, but I never bothered, with the whole trying to hold on to my hair because I actually shaved my hair back. I uploaded a picture today. Actually, it was funny. It's from 2014 after I won the British for the second time, and I had hair. I just decided to shave my head back then, so I kind of got used to the look anyway. So when my hair stopped growing back, it wasn't really an issue because I was having that haircut anyway, so it was fine.
Oh, there you go.
What about you? Did you try any of that, John?
Yeah, no, the same thing happened to me. I think growing up in this sport, our testosterone goes through the roof, and if your parents have it, then or your grandmother, or your grandfather have it, then you're probably more inclined to it. I did try Rogaine. I remember because I really liked my hair, and back when we were in my old wrestling days, the hair really it wasn't long, but when you took a punch. I remember the hair was a great effect. That's right. You put it all wet and you just go like that. But in reality, you got to accept reality. And if you have a good shape to your head, it should be good for now. So
I bet you had really good hair. I can see it.
Really. I'll show you. When Phil Heath won the New York Pro, I still had hair. I took a picture with him, so I'll send it to you so you can see.
Yeah, please. I need to see that. I bet it was thick. I bet it was really thick.
Yeah. All right. Let's see. What protocol of HGH does James prefer? Every other day, every day, or any dosage you would say in your protocol? This is from Muscle Free.
This is you know, if this is something that the guys at obviously home base don't mind me discussing, then I'm happy to kind of discuss it. Is it cool?
Yeah, of course, of course. This is just your opinion. This is not your medical advice. This is just your opinion.
My opinion. So the opinion is that if I was using HGH, to be fair, probably an every other day kind of protocol.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason I say that is just from my understanding is just to keep the sensitivity, and to prevent yourself from getting kind of intolerance in the pituitary gland. I don't know the deep, you know guys that know way more than me, but it's a smart idea basically to rotate on and off and not to use anything in, basically don't abuse anything. And if you have an opportunity to like cycle on and off, it's always better, in my opinion. So that's what I would say.
All right. So we got John saying, what PCT protocol would you use? Is there a need for all of them? HCG, Nova, Clomid? This is turning into an Ask James questions here.
I don't mind. Do you know what the funny thing is with this? And I'm gonna downright say it now. It's been a long time since I've done a PCT.
Oh wow.
I wouldn't even remember, because bodybuilding's changed a lot. And I'll be honest, like what a lot of the guys do now is they drop down to like what's considered HRT.
Right.
So they might go as low as 125 mgs of testosterone every 10 days in between what's considered cycles. So that's my approach now, and I feel a lot healthier for it. And there is some valid explanations as to it being healthier. But obviously, if your long-term goal, like I have friends that have totally retired from bodybuilding, then you definitely want to approach the PCT route, because you do want to be off. But because I'm still very much in the kind of twilight of my bodybuilding, I tend to do the latter approach, which is more the kind of drop everything down to what I can consider the most healthy numbers, and allow my body to get some time to rest without forcing, overdoing it. So PCT is a tough one. I don't think there's a need for it all, in all honesty. But you'd have to speak to someone like my coach right now is Patrick Tor, someone like that who knows the pharmacology, is far more qualified than I am to discuss that. So it's definitely worth like talking to a good coach. That's my opinion.
Right, and that's a great advice. You should hire a good coach that knows what they're doing. And
that's why I've always had a coach. That's why, because I don't claim to know. I just claim to be a hard worker and someone that's willing to train hard, eat hard, pose hard, stay consistent. But I will never ever know all the ins and outs, and I can't ever claim to, because to be honest, it doesn't interest me.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want overload, sensory overload. I don't want to know everything. There is knowing too much, and sometimes if you know too much in something like bodybuilding, it can put you off.
Right. So. We got Emil here from YouTube. He has, do you prefer supinated, pronated, or neutral grip?
You got to do both.
When doing back, this is for back exercises.
I think you still got to do both, because something that I've been doing a lot lately is pronated to hit my upper back more, because your grip determines a lot of the path a lot of the time. Mm-hmm. And subconsciously, when you're holding something in a supinated grip, you do tend to get a lot more lat activation, because you kind of drive in a downwards motion a lot more. Whereas a pronated grip, you tend to retract the scapula more. So if you're trying to get thicker in the middle of the back, a pronated grip tends to be more ideal. But if you're trying to increase your lat size, which is your width, and like the bits you're showing there on the side under the armpits, then you want to focus, I would say, more on the underarm grip. So they both have their place. I wouldn't leave any one of the two out, because barbell rows overhand are fantastic for upper back thickness, but then an underarm, low cable row is great for hitting the lats, and so is an under grip pull down.
Very nice. All right. So we got okay, Ricardo Ferdi he's in Germany. He says the gym's open on 11/05 in Germany. Have you heard of that?
Because obviously Germany does it the same as England. So January, February, March, April, May. So May, 11th of May. So that's good. That's new. That's good news. I don't think we're going to be in the same situation. What's going on with you guys over there? You've got
right now in America, it's a very sticky situation. I know people here, especially in Florida, are opening gyms without, not following direct orders from the governors. It's just
Yeah,
privately owned gyms that need to make a living,
yeah,
and again, it's social distancing. But again, we don't know what's going to happen in the next couple of weeks. I know Atlanta, Georgia opened, and some more cases popped up. But
that's the
it's
only
one of
thing.
those things that we don't know what's going to happen still.
Yeah, it is a tough one. Really is a tough one. Like, we're obviously on lockdown still here, and obviously the only reason I can go to the gym is because obviously I was one of the people that opened it and therefore have it to myself. So there's no risk of spreading because there's no one in there.
Right.
Obviously, if there was other people in there, then I wouldn't be inclined to go there, to be honest. So I don't know. It's a hard one. I don't really know what's the right situation because just don't know the statistics and the facts. Because as much as we can look on the news and stuff, we really don't know what the truth is, whether it's worse than we think or better than we think. So for now, just play it safe, in my opinion.
Are you still training right now?
Yeah, I'm still training. I've obviously got the gym to myself, so I'm quite lucky.
Okay.
All
right. Somebody wants to know, basically, what's your favorite sauce on your chicken when you're dieting?
What, like actual sauce, not the sauce? Because me and Luke always joke about
the actual sauce.
It changes. It changes because it might be something as simple as soy sauce. You might just want to have something a bit salty just to flavor it up. I'm not really a massive condiment man. I'm a salt and pepper guy. Like I use a lot of pepper. Like, I mean, when I say a lot of pepper, you can't really see the food. But if there was a sauce I'd go to, you can never go wrong with a Nando's mild. And I don't know if you have that. Do you have the Nando's?
No, I never tried it. Is that spicy sauce or no?
It's Portuguese. Well, it's meant to be Portuguese, but it's for chicken. But it's mild and the calories are pretty good, pretty low. But I know that Nando's isn't really open in America, but there is some in Canada. Because Ron Partlow tells me they've got them in Canada, I think now. So yeah, if you can get that ever, I might have to send some over for you boys.
Yes.
Good.
Next time you come over. Luca wants to know, has Jamie ever played the video game called Dishonored?
Of course I have. Great game. Completed that. I have to admit, though, I didn't complete the second one. I lost it. The first one was fantastic and put together so well. And there was a lot of expectations for the second one. And it just, I don't know, there was just something about it felt a bit wrong. I played like a level or two and I just thought, you know what, this isn't giving me the same vibes as the first one. But if you like games, anyone who likes games out there and they're wondering, a good game to play that'll be cheap to buy now because obviously it's old, Dishonored was a really good game because it had multiple choices. So you could do every level in multiple ways. You might have had to kill an enemy or you could keep them alive and do it the non-lethal way. You could get information out of them to let you know more. Like it was a cool game. Very good.
Nice. Very nice. You see, there's always, when you're here, there's always a video game question. So that's good.
I love that. It's great. It makes me feel relaxed. It means people, are a little bit interested in that.
Right. And then they know you still are a great gamer. We got Cal here asking, what's your opinion on deadlifts for purely just bodybuilding?
So, deadlifts are something I used to love doing because I'm just guilty of doing them. I think they're fantastic. It's a fun exercise, isn't it? But I have to say, like, if you're looking purely for like bodybuilding, like response in terms of like hypertrophy and a physique improvement, I feel that you can get more out of either a partial deadlift in like a Dorian style or a rack pull. Or even an RDL. I just think touch and go deadlifts, what happens is that most of us tend to just chase the weight. We get a little bit sloppy. We lose a little bit of time under tension. So for me personally, the way to stop me from doing that and be a little bit more sensible and controlled is by switching the movement up to something like an RDL or a rack pull so I don't get too crazy with the weight and really focus on contraction.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think people, I don't know. I mean, you've always, I guess, followed, the whole high intensity training, but your bag is thickness. So I think people think that it's because of the deadlifts that help your thickness.
Yeah, it will to a degree. But it's like if you do a partial deadlift, like let's say shin and above, I guarantee the next day you're going to feel it more in your actual back than regular deadlift. Regular deadlift is such a compound movement that just totally wipes out your whole body. You're going to feel it in your legs, you're going to feel it in your shoulders, you're going to feel it literally everywhere. Whereas the RDL variation or the kind of shin variation, you're going to just feel it a lot more on your back.
All right. Muscle Freak wants to know Jim's opinion on high protein diet like Dante Trudell and Chad over 2 grams per pound.
This is a genetic thing. You know, this is going to come down totally to the individual and what their requirements are and how they process food, how they digest, how they grow from that. I've recently lowered my protein quite dramatically since going over to Patrick. You know, I was eating 275 grams, which is, I think, like 12 ounces of chicken per meal cooked. Now I'm eating like 170, which is probably 7 or 8 ounces, maybe tops, 7 maybe, versus the previous. And I have to say, you know, no muscle loss, much better digestion because I'm not pushing it. I think a lot of us overdo protein, like, in my opinion. Many guys like the Phil Heaths of the world, I think, said, you know, the high protein was when they look their best. And if that's the case for you, that's the case for you, and you have to do what's best for you. But I get along with a higher carbohydrate, moderate protein, because you've got to bear in mind the carbohydrates are protein sparing anyway. You know, some moderate fats in there. So I don't like to push super high protein because it feels like it's working my organs too hard, if I'm honest. Yeah, it feels like I've got a lot of work to do, and my kidneys and everything are just fighting to break that shit down. So if I would rather opt for slightly lower protein and just knock the carbohydrates up a bit. Another guy that I spoke to, you know, a friend of mine, Justin Compton, is another guy that's kind of, from my understanding, would rather not push the protein too high and keep carbohydrates up as well. And, you know, look at his physique. He had one of the best physiques probably going.
Yep, absolutely.
So, yeah.
We got another video game question. So, your favorite Devil May Cry video?
Muscle Freak. Devil May Cry 3 is a brilliant game. Let's be honest. It was like everything that 1 had and more. But I have to say, 5 did really well to try and keep in that same realm of greatness. They did a really good job. Often you get to the 5th game of a saga and it's going to be dog shit. So I would agree. 3 is absolutely the best. Like they nailed that. The fact that you can like get all the different weapons, you can switch instantly. It was a fantastic game. Story was great. The fact that you fight Virgil at the end, his brother, was fantastic. But that's why 5 was really good as well. Spoiler alert, because it kind of done 3 all over again, but with improved graphics and a little bit more storytelling. So 3 is the best one. 3 is fantastic. Honestly, I agree.
Awesome. Got Alberto here asking, how do different angles on chest, build what part of the chest? Does decline build the meat and incline the thickness? I guess he's trying to ask if decline builds, helps build, compared to incline.
To tell you who's a really good person, obviously he's with Redcon, is Joe Bennett. Joe has like a lot of facts on like actual how you get the most recruitment out of fibers in the pecs, whether it be from a fly variation or the angle of the press. He's the man to follow, honestly. And I know that I'm not trying to just sell his website to you, but he has a website with a lot of information on. And if you get stuck and don't know many things like that, and you really want to know the ins and outs, he is the guy. But I would say this: I start most of my chest sessions personally with a shallow incline of some sort, so a press, whether it be dumbbell, barbell, Smith machine. So that shows you my opinion on it. It has first priority in the exercise list for chest. So take that as you will. I think that a slight incline is probably the best builder for chest, but follow it with all the other stuff as well. So, fly variations, maybe a decline press or even a flat press of some sorts.
I'm going to ask this question from Scooby. Yeah. Has James ever suffered from bigorexia, and his thoughts and advice on it? And I'll say that James is one of James and Luke. I mean, I think that's why you guys are so popular and get along so well. It's because you guys are very open about everything, and you're very real. So, what are your opinion on bigorexia? And have you ever had that case of, wow, I'm not big enough?
I think we live with it, every day. Professional bodybuilders, whether you're amateur, whether you just bodybuild. Why? There's a reason we go to the gym, isn't there? We're chasing a goal of some sort, and most of the time, it's more size. Not most bodybuilders aren't in this just to be shredded. Like, to be honest, competition bodybuilders, yes, granted, but most of us go to the gym because we want to grow, and we want to see the limits, and we want to see where we can get ourselves. So we've all suffered with it. It's just to what degree. I don't suffer with it terribly. I try not to look on myself too much because that's when it gets worse. It's like anything. If you draw your attention to something over and over again, that's when the issues occur. I'm sure it's the same for, an alcoholic. If they're looking at alcohol adverts all day, it's going to cause issues because it's in their mind. You have to kind of choose where you put your focus. So me personally, like when I train, I tend to try and stay a bit covered up and just feel it and enjoy it and make sure that the first thing that's in my mind is not how do I look today, but more so how do I feel today.
Yeah. Nowadays, for your workouts, what's your favorite music that you're listening to right now?
I'm a rap guy, man. Like Luke loves the metal and stuff, but I love rap. So I've been listening to there's an artist called Conway the Machine. He's a rapper from Buffalo by New York. He's very good. He's kind of my style, just very eerie old school beats. He's got like songs produced by people like The Alchemist, where they have those old horrible samples where it just sounds like some shitty old record, but that's what I like. I do like a bit of like kind of softer rock, like kind of Breaking Benjamin. Still love Evanescence. I've posted Evanescence quite a few times, but mostly for me it's rap, but it has to be good rap with meaning. And there's another artist I really like is a guy called Yellow Wolf. He was signed to like Eminem for a while. He's really good. He's from Alabama. He's actually a white rapper, but he's got country style and it's just really good. Like if you want something totally different, you haven't got an idea of where you can go and what direction to listen to, something that feels different than all the genres, check out Yellow Wolf because he's really cool.
Yeah, I've heard he has a lot of fans.
He's
I
great.
haven't heard a lot from his music, but to have that following, he must be doing something right.
Yeah, honestly, he's like the only person that has his own kind of sound. There is no one like it, honestly. I couldn't find anyone else.
Definitely hear it for sure. Got Monkey Pumpkin here. James, is there disadvantages of eating frozen chicken breast from supermarket for building muscle over fresh kitchen other than the taste?
I don't think so. You know, there's going to be some additives in there, maybe some sulfites of some sort, maybe some even some maltodextrin, flour. But critically, is it going to cause you to look terrible or perform terrible? I don't think so. Like the most important thing is that does it fit your budget? And if the frozen chicken is more affordable and it lets you pursue the bodybuilding to your best capabilities, then stick with that. Don't stress yourself trying to reach out of, trying to grab out of reach the things that are too expensive, because you know how expensive chicken can be, especially when it's like the free range kind of pasture raised kind of stuff. It's so expensive. So go with your budget, man. I don't think there's anything wrong with frozen chicken. I've had many a time where I've kind of relied on that for a while when money hasn't been great and I've got to be tight on the budget. And as long as you're getting it done, you're getting it done. So I wouldn't stress too much.
Yeah, we had a question here from somebody asking basically, have you decided on doing a show? You're doing the New York Pro. Are you still thinking about it?
I've left it with Patrick, to be fair. Like things are going really well at the minute. Training's going awesome. Body's kind of doing what he wants it to do and what I want it to do. So there's no point cutting it short. I'm really honest with my physique. What I've done is I've competed too much and I don't have a long enough off season ever. And that's not because I don't want to do that. It's just because I do enjoy bodybuilding and I enjoy being up there with everyone else. But realistically, for the impact to happen that I know that can, because I believe it can, I just have to take a bit longer in the off season and let the muscle sit there for a bit longer. And that's really what the goal is now with Patrick, is just to mature the body a bit and come back and actually do some serious damage as such, because I think it's possible.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you're one of those guys that the longer you take the longer you take your time to develop and get to know your body, you always impress. So that's why this, me, nobody in the world was expecting this little timeout. So it only can do you good.
Absolutely. And I'm just, my mindset's this. My mindset's that I'm going to use this time to improve. If I can't dial it down for a show and get lean, which is probably a gift from God, because realistically, that's the last thing I need to do. So this has kind of put me in a position where I'm forced to do what I need to do. So I'm actually happy that it's kind of happening. Obviously, I'm not happy with anyone that's affected by it and all the issues occurring, but I am happy that it's forced my mind into a mentality where I'm agreeing for once in my life to focus on the things that are needed to be done.
All right, we got your alternate food to eat when you're out and you don't have the meals with you.
Oh, anything. You can always get away with something. Depends where you're from, obviously, but I find myself in the past often just running into over here we have BP garages, which are just petrol garages, which sell pretty good, like ready cooked chicken, ready cooked prawns, salmon salads. They sell what else they sell? Even to be fair, even like rice cakes and stuff. You should never really be caught off guard. Like there's always a way you can make up the macros, nutrients for the meal that you're missing. So if you're missing, you know, a meal that's typically maybe 150 grams of chicken, or, you know, 8 ounces of chicken, and maybe 200 grams of rice, you can pretty much make that up with like a couple of tins of tuna and a pack of rice cakes, and it'll do. You know, there's really never a reason to not get the meal in.
Right.
I've never found myself go without for too long. There's always an alternative.
You know, and I've been here with Luke and James, and yeah, they always find a place to eat.
Oh, absolutely.
You know, there's
even if you go to a restaurant, there's usually something you can have.
Yeah, there's always something you can have.
Definitely.
Your favorite RPG game, like Fallout 3, Final Fantasy, etc.
Final Fantasy, but you know, I'm currently playing through the brand new 7 remake. I'm on like chapter 14 at the minute. I'm enjoying it. I'm taking my time with it because normally I just rush through games. 15 I did, 13 I did. God, what else? 10, 7, 8, and 9. 7, 8, and 9. Like, if you want a great RPG, just play Final Fantasy 7, 8, and 9. Like, you can literally download them on the PS4 for like 20 quid. Play them, and that's the epitome, in my opinion, of RPGs. Fallout, I don't mind. I've got like one of my best friends, Luke, another guy. Whenever he plays a game and suggests me play it, I've got this like arrogance about me where I'm like, no, I'm not playing it because you are. So I missed out on Fallout because I kind of said to myself, you know what, I'm not going to play it because you suggested it. But I do hear it is one of the best RPGs.
So I've heard it. I haven't touched it, but I've definitely heard it. So let's see what's going to happen with that. Now, Not a bodybuilding question saying, do you think doing squats on the Smith machine is just as effective as doing them on the rack?
Definitely. I think it is. I think it stops cheat patterns occurring. I think it stops, you know, I'm guilty of it. I'm a very good squatter, free bar. Like, when I'm in my element, it's one of my movements that I can really do nicely and feel no awkwardness. But the periods of time where I've been very successful in my free bar squat has not been the periods of time when my legs have been their best. And that's just straight facts from my own training. Smith machine forces me to somehow recruit my legs solely a lot more than when I do, say, a squat. If I squat, I know that I'm using a lot of explosivity in my back. Like, I'm almost like good morning it up, trying to get out the hole. Whereas when I'm on a Smith machine, you're locked in. So I prefer to use hack squats, Smith machines. Like, on a Smith, I kid you not, I could probably lift half the weight that I lift on a free bar, but my legs feel twice as damaged. So I haven't done a free bar squat for a long time. I think they're just as effective. I would not shy away from it. If you feel like it's pussy because it's a Smith machine, I promise you it's not. It's a very good piece of equipment, and it's pretty safe because obviously it's on rails.
You feel your knees are thanking you for it?
It's funny. I think my knees probably prefer a free bar squat because there's more movement. Do you know what I mean? But I think my quads appreciate the Smith machine squat more because they get the load. So it's just weighing it up. Just make sure your knees are warm. But Smith machine squats are fantastic. Don't think they're terrible because they're not. They're great.
All right. Where do you guys stand on the idea of optimal rest periods between sets for bodybuilding?
You know, like, a lot of it depends again on what you're doing, where you're at when you're training. Are you close to a show? You're not. I'm always under the philosophy of I don't go until I know that the next set I can give absolutely everything again. So if I have to have 2 minutes rest, I have 2 minutes rest. If I have to have 3, I have 3. I don't rush the rest. I honestly want to be ready to go ham on that next set. Because I feel like a workout where every set was optimal and hard is better than one that was rushed and the sets were perhaps not at their peak because of cardiovascular stress rather than muscular stress. Because obviously if you rush, your heartbeat's going crazy, your breathing's out of sync, diaphragm's getting all over the gaff, cramp starts to occur, you know, when you get stitch. And that's just a terrible thing for being able to perform. So I always look at it from a performance perspective, sorry. So if I'm not ready to go in terms of like how I feel, I'll wait. And I don't feel guilty for it. The one thing I always say is this is my job. And if I'm in the gym for 2 hours, 3 hours because I waited because I weren't ready, so be it. I have to do it. So I take it on. Honestly, I'm not Dorian. I don't know how Dorian.
We were talking earlier about your music, and now people want to find out where can they listen to your music on the internet, or is it not? This is your chance right now.
I uploaded a little like leg video yesterday, and that was one of my little instrumentals on there, just messing about. But I've got like 20 beats that I've got into, but I haven't finished anything yet because I'm not. because I'm not happy with it. So what I do is I just move on, go again, move on, go again. But I think eventually I'll start like putting some things out. I might actually look for someone local, like in the area, who I know that actually does like MC and maybe take some of the beats just for free and just do something with them. But I might upload some. We'll see. Maybe on my YouTube or something if they're any good. What I will probably definitely do, well, not probably definitely, I will definitely do, is some of my own training. What I'll do is I'll upload the instrumentals over the top because obviously there's no copyright, so it's fine. So I can just entertain myself with music.
Yeah, for sure. James, how much cardio is too much cardio?
When you're doing so much cardio that you're in a calorie deficit all the time because you're burning too many calories. So just don't do so much cardio that all of your hard efforts of eating are being withered away by the cardio. And that's dependent on how much food you're eating, you know, BMR, how much cardio you're doing. So there's a lot of factors there. But, you know, someone like myself, I do 40 minutes of cardio every morning, even now, because it puts me in good stead for the day and it allows my appetite to be peak. It allows my cardiovascular system to be peak, keeps my heart healthy. You know, it's training your heart in an aerobic fashion rather than that short bursts of anaerobic activity. You know, this is something that Patrick and I discuss, and he's very content on cardio being present because heart health is so important for big guys. So if you're someone that isn't sure whether cardio is good to do, honestly, for longevity and health, keep it in the mix.
This is a good one. Your best and your worst memories as a pro bodybuilder.
Worst memory was probably my first pro show when I didn't get called out, and I was like, "What the fuck?" I was like, "Fuck," because I felt it was really funny because I did the Big Man show in 2018, and I was pretty ready. Like, listen, like people don't get it. Like, Johnny, you know bodybuilding, and you can be dry and tight 3 days out, but if you do something drastic, you can look like a water buffalo on stage, and people think you're 5 weeks out.
Absolutely,
you see it happen. I was like literally 2 weeks out. I was tight enough to do well in the show. I wasn't my most shredded ever, but I came into that show and I loaded so heavy. Like I was eating so much food. I was like using like GDAs, Slin, whatever the hell, just to try and fill myself out. And I went overboard. I spilt like mad, but I felt great because I was massive. Did that show, didn't even place, got off the stage. I was like, what the fuck happened there?
Wow.
And it weren't until I looked back at the pictures that I was like, wow, my shape was fantastic and my size was amazing, but I was watery as fuck. So that was pretty bad. I have to say my second one, like on that, I didn't peak well in New York. I fucked it up. And considering what I looked like the week before, that picture you just put up, which is in Spain, where I got third. If I had come to New York like that, I would have placed higher, like guaranteed. I would have been top 6 because I was in the first call out up New York because they knew that I looked good at the previous show. But I didn't bring it to the following show. I fucked it up, and that's my own fault.
So what do you think was the main difference between?
Simply, I've always used directs. Always, I'm someone that would always use them because it's always been my protocol. When I was a junior bodybuilder, I was taught by the old school guys, and I always used them. I used them safely. I didn't use like crazy amounts, but in New York, decided not to, and it just changed all the variants. You know, my body, how food was sitting, how everything was sitting, and. You know, I'm not going to say taking a direct would have made me win the show because it wouldn't have by like miles because one looked great, so did the other guys. But I would have been my normal crisp because I hold water under the skin. And when I do directs, I always piss about 5 liters that night. And when I piss out 5 liters, I wake up in the morning and I'm a different man. So I made errors there. So that was quite a horrible memory because it was such a simple thing to not do that kind of caused the issue. But then best memories, winning any title I've ever won, which obviously I haven't won any pro shows yet, but like when I've won the junior British first time, I was really happy because it felt like I just joined the kind of league of Flex Lewis, Nathan Diasher, you know, all the previous junior winners. That was always my dream because at that level, I only wished of that. I weren't thinking beyond. When I was 19 years old, getting ready for that, I wasn't thinking about being Mr. Olympia. I was thinking about being Mr. Britain. So that was great. And then obviously when I won the overall, the British was really good. But placing third in 2 pro shows last year, that was really cool. That felt great. It felt like I'm moving in the right direction. So I've got too many good memories, so I'll shut up there. All
right, we're going to take 2 more questions, and that's it for today because we got to go do more work today.
Lots of beats to make.
I know, it's going to be the James Show. Your tips on maintaining a healthy digestion, especially when eating a lot of food.
Number 1, cardiovascular exercise. Empty stomach, a little bit of fasting there, get the blood moving around the body. 2, drinking lots of water. 3, vegetables in your diet, make sure they're present. And 4, portion control, just making sure you're not someone that's hoofing down too much food in individual meals. It's always better to spread it out and eat smaller meals throughout the day rather than trying to pile in the big ones. So that'd be my go-to kind of advice on that.
Very cool. And your last question, and I'm sure you've gotten asked this before, but this just popped up. Who do you have between Eddie and Thor?
Do you know what? It's going to be just a shit show, isn't it? I just think they're going to both fall over and gas out. I just can't see it being even. It's going to be a mess, mate. Like, honestly, these two are polite. Like, bless them, and they're great at what they do. They're fantastic, but they're going to look like fucking idiots when they get in that ring. Unless they surprise me and they get into really good shape and do all the cardio. Can you see any of them getting down into like proper fighting shape?
No, absolutely not.
Like Eddie's never been in shape. Like even when he's got a bit of ab, he's not in shape. He's not. Come on, and Thor could be in shape, but I don't think he's going to move like he can box or anything. So I think it's going to be terrible. I think it's going to be really funny. I think the video, if anything, the video from the fight will make more. It'll get more views as comedy as it has than a serious note. So fair play to them both because they're making a shitload of money and they're smart. But it's going to be a shit show.
Yeah, it says September in Las Vegas, so I'm sure they're hyping it up for the Olympia. And see, I would much rather have them in a octagon or like a cage match, not a real ring.
Like a boxing.
There's no ring bigger for them too. But I agree with you. I agree they're not gonna last 30 seconds. They're gonna be really gassed out.
Someone's gonna get hit and it's just gonna go boom. It's gonna be over because it's gonna be that lucky hit.
Right. All right, so that's gonna do it for this episode of Luke and James. We don't have a clue where Luke is.
I think
so
Luke probably trained in the Jungle Oats gym, and he's probably fallen asleep after. To be fair, I don't blame him. But we've always got each other to back each other up. So I made it today, so it's all good.
All right. So on behalf of James Hollingshead, all the way there from the UK, this has been Johnny Styles here at the Redcon 1 headquarters. We'll see you soon. Take care, guys.